back to the Carter Code podcast. This will be episode 3. I'm your co-host, Josh. I'm with my other co-host, Dwayne.
Yo.
We got a very special guest in the building. Grammy nominated, multi-platinum recording art engineer.
Yes, sir.
Billboard charting producer.
Yes, sir.
He's worked with everybody's favorite artists, which includes Gunna, Young Thug, Travis Scott, Coi Leray, Kodak Black, Mariah the Scientist.
Come on, man.
Bring it up. AJ StayWorkin.
Let's go. Let's go.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having coming on the podcast, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Shoot, that boy made his way all the way up here, all the way down here, man. Shoot, like I said, appreciate it. This is a big one, man. I feel like I feel like people are gonna learn a lot that they had no idea
Definitely
even existed. You know what I'm saying, on the inside. So shoot, man, go ahead and get it rolling. Tell us about the beginning. You're growing up. Where you from?
Well, to start, my pops in the military.
Yeah.
We moved around a lot. I was born in Virginia. We moved a few places after that. And then we finally landed in Florida, Fort Walton Beach, Florida to be exact. And I'd say that's kind of where things started to get serious for me with the recording. I probably recorded my first song in 8th or 9th grade with my brothers, actually for church. The church that we met each other.
We all met each other.
That was the first song I ever recorded, not even knowing what I was really doing, just knowing I love music. And then there weren't too many people to record in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. But it is like a party area. I mean, it's right near Destin, Florida, so it's a lot of out of town and a lot of people partying. So I just picked up DJing, and then from DJing, I got more into it and was able to keep sticking with music, and then transition back to engineering. And that's when I went to college and took a couple courses on it, and things went up from there.
Yeah. Shoot, man, going through it, like what made you transition from DJing to engineering? Like what was that moment like where you're like, let me expand?
Well, like I was saying, I always wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah.
I was always interested in like the behind the scenes of like basically how music is made. And being so in tune with that and in love with that, I would like record the radio. I would record somebody else's vocals or whatever I could record. I was recording it to play back and listen to. And that's how I kind of accidentally discovered DJing. But my heart was always set on, being more behind the scenes and kind of like putting songs together. And like I said, just kind of due to the fact that my environment was, wasn't full of recording artists and things like that. I just took what I could get, and then like along the way would find like 1 or 2 artists to record. But it would just got to a point where like, man, I'm over the clubs, I'm over DJing all night. And I was like, yo, I'm spinning my wheels a lot. Let me just move to Atlanta. And so I moved to Atlanta, and it started, the next chapter of my music career in Atlanta.
Shit, that boy moved. So did you, when you moved out there, it was on some, like, did you know someone out there already, or you was just like, nah, fam, it's time to...
My brother moved out there. I probably had $500, no car.
Sheesh.
Enough money for the first month's rent. And my brother probably helped me scrounge up the rest of that. And somebody did tell me to go to a school out there, audio. Well, I don't think it's audio engineering school, but it's like they teach audio engineering and video and gaming. And somebody told me to go to school there, so I did. And like I feel like most people that I know are from either work or school.
Thanks.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to school, and if nothing else, I'll meet some people there
out there. And
so when I moved there, I went to the school. It's called SAE. Shout out to SAE. Went there, and I met this girl named Zaya. And I don't know if she was managing the studio at the time, or she had just started interning or working there, whatever the case may be. But I think she kind of noticed that I was a little bit ahead of the people in our class. And she was like, yo, you'll be a perfect fit at Loud House Studios. So I was like, all right, cool. After I went to the school, went to Loud House Studios, and then like a month or two later, Thug and the YSL label booked out the whole studio, and now I'm locked in with them. But I'm interning. So I am, starting at ground zero. I still don't really know these guys. They don't know me. I'm doing store runs. I'm hating it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember sitting texting my friends like, "Yo, I'm not learning anything. You guys got me running around. I'm through." And then, but I ended up sticking with it. And then, we started recording. We started. Well, I started recording with like the YSL artists. Me and Thug and Gunna. I hadn't started recording them yet. I kind of always knew in the back of my mind like I would get that chance because that's kind of how it goes anyway at studios and with engineers. Like, somebody kind of moves out the way, and now your opportunity, will come for you to record them. You kind of just got to be ready for it.
Yeah. Shoot.
And it's good that. It sounded like, from just hearing you speak, even when we talked off camera before this, it was like you take pride in betting on yourself. And again, you say you went to Atlanta with $500 and just enough to, pay first month's rent.
Yeah.
What is the point for you to where like you start to feel like, you know what, I can make a career out of this?
I mean, I always felt like that I could make a career out of music. When I was DJing, that was my career. Obviously, I would have like a 9 to 5 here and then kind of in between. Yeah. But I always felt like I could make money off of my music. There's droughts, sometimes I'm making more or less money from the music. But I always felt like I could make money from music for sure. Yeah, I don't, like since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was DJing house parties. Give me $50, I'm gonna show up with the computer.
$50, I'm there with
what I mean? So we're gonna turn it up,
man. We're gonna turn it up. So I always knew, that I just kind of like, how do I scale it? That was always my thing. How do we make this bigger? How do I make more money? Things like that. That was kind of always the goal.
Shoot, before we get into it, for the people that don't know, we explain the difference between a producer and an engineer.
Okay, so. A producer is somebody who's going to put everything together. Yeah. A producer may not even, and then you got to throw beat maker in there too, because a producer may not even make the beat. They might not touch anything. They might literally they might find a person who makes good beats. They might find a person, who does good raps, even a writer, what I mean? They're going to put everything together. Now, granted, they could also be that writer, that person that makes the beat. You know what I mean? Some producers, you have your DJ Khaled who doesn't really make too many beats. I think he'll make beats here and there, but he's going to go find it. Then you got Metro, who's going to majority make those beats. But he may also, go recruit some producers to kind of help him and facilitate the sound that he's looking for. Yeah. The engineer is going to be somebody who just records a song. Today, there are a lot of hybrid engineers, so you got your engineers kind of like me who also make beats, and especially your upcoming engineers, like if you want to make more money, then I would suggest making beats. So, your engineer though is going to be solely kind of just recording the song, editing the vocals and the beat for that matter, and then the producer is going to put it all together. Okay. And like I said, now today most guys who make beats are producers, but a producer doesn't necessarily have to make the beat. They kind of just put all the aspects of the song together and make it a whole.
Okay, facts.
So from your experience, just being able to be both an engineer and a producer, what would you say that would be the most intriguing thing for you about being one or the other?
Personally, man, I have a deep passion for both. I do know a lot of engineers who really don't care. They're very great engineers. They really don't care too much about making beats. They rather just do the engineering. And I know a lot of producers. I got a lot of producers friends who want to stay far away from engineering. They don't like it. I like both. Yeah. Like I like sitting in, even if we're not, making a song on my beat. I like sitting in with the artist. I like helping produce the vocals. So, say it this way, say it that way. Yeah. I think that, really sets the tone for the song. Like instead of just sending beats out and telling the artist to get on it, like I want to be there. Yeah. I really want to say all, but I'm sure somebody will go back and be like, oh, not this one. But all of the songs that I've produced, I recorded. Okay. I was there for it. And for me, that's like my cheat code because I have an understanding of like song format and things like that. So it's like, hey, let's move this over here. I engineer. So I'm a edit the song almost all the way down so it sounds very close to what the final version is. Okay. Whereas I feel like if you send it out, sometimes the engineer is going to just record it, and not that they're not trying to give it their all. They just don't necessarily. They might not necessarily
know the
sound that we're looking for, and so now they've got to send it to me, and then it's a whole nother process. But if we're all in the studio together, now, like I said, we could kind of fast track that, get it closer to what we want it to sound like, and I feel like the artist is going to enjoy that song more. Yeah. Now it's a better chance of that song coming out because we record so many songs.
Facts.
So it's like, Yeah,
I was about to say you hear about so many guys just record 1,000 songs at an unreleased,
right? Man, 5 or 6. A lot of unreleased music, and I feel like me being an engineer, I'm that extra, voice in the back of the artist's head. Like, hey, don't forget about this song. Yeah, I might play this song, like, wow, I forgot about that, or I might make changes to the song. Yeah, along the lines of what I know they're looking for, but they might not be able to get that across to me. So I might be able to just take it in my own hands and take my time on the song because I know how to engineer. Yeah. I don't have to wait on another engineer. I've seen a lot of producers kind of have to wait on an engineer or call somebody to pull this session up. I could do all of that. You can do all that myself. So that definitely does help, and I love to do both. Like, someday I have my days where I'm only making beats, and then I have some days where I'm only recording. You know what I mean? So, I enjoy both equally for sure.
I do want to backtrack on one thing that you just said about a producer may not actually be making the beat, but he still gets the producer credit because whatever the case is for that. But is that a common thing to where, like, the guy that's not making, because to me, and I'm sure some of our viewers are gonna, kind of have the same ideology, it's like you just equate producer to beat maker.
Yeah, yeah. No, most people do. I mean, like, they kind of just sum it up. But it does go a little bit deeper than that. And just because I know what it takes, as a producer, I understand a little bit better. But it does take effort to put a song together. Like, some people think, hey, I could just go get these 3 big artists, put them on a song, and it's going to be a smash. Yeah. But if you guys really go search, you'll go see songs that artists have collaborated on that you had no idea about. Like, wow, I didn't even know this song existed. And then there's other producers who put songs together, and this song. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's like a puzzle piece that you don't have the picture for. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have no picture for, and you have to figure out how to put all these pieces together and make them work well to make a hit. Which, if you don't really do that, it seems easier than it really is. But, man, these guys that are really putting these artists together, because first of all, you got to get the artists to come together. Right. And you got to get them to sound good on that beat. And the subject matter. Yeah. You know what I mean? I really feel like, as a producer, you got to be a people person. Facts. Because you want to bring the best out of an artist. Because they could be with somebody else and just kind of give a half performance. They could be in the room with this producer, and now magic is made. But as a listener, you wouldn't really understand that. But as a creator, it's just like kind of having a trainer. Certain trainers, man, when I go work out with him, I'm finna get the best workout. It's time to go. It's time to go every time. You know what I mean? And then you go with this other guy, and it's like, oh, we just kind of going through the motions today. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? When you go with certain producers, and the producer needs to know what to say to get you to move without throwing the vibe off. You know what I mean? So it does get a little bit deeper than that, but it's a difference.
Yeah. Definitely. I love that you said it like that, because to me that resonates with me so deeply, because of I know how I feel whenever just training, like for sports and stuff. Right. I know if I work out with a certain trainer, I'm gonna feel like it just gives a new feeling, like you're about to get
it's hard to work your lane, but it's like time. And that's what it is in the studio, man. Like, some people just, and you got to know, and a producer or engineer is kind of like your barber or something like that, where it's like, it's just a relationship, and everybody doesn't work well together. Some people work better with others. You know what I mean? But you got to have that real relationship to feel vulnerable, and not even just like sad songs, but even like upbeat, happy songs. Just to feel comfortable doing that. And that's something that I don't feel like producers do really get credit for. Yeah. Because people will be like, man, he didn't make the beat and he didn't write the song, so what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what is he really bringing to the table? Right? It doesn't even make sense. But when you're in that room, and then like that, you just keep making, because there's some artists who I just keep making good songs. Obviously, there might be one or two like kind of iffy ones, but it's like every time we get together, it's a really good song. Yeah. And then there's some other artists who I know they make good music maybe with somebody else because that's just they're on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? And you got to realize that as a producer too, because you can't just beat a dead horse like, oh, let's keep getting in. You know, you switch it up.
Do you pass them off to that person? You're like, nah, fam, I think.
I mean, yeah, if it works like that, like, I don't necessarily because I never really know what somebody else has going on at the time. So, but if it works like that, I might bring somebody in, and that'll kind of be the segue.
Okay,
you know, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What's the, I guess, kind of merging into the next part? You made that easy for us, but it's like who did you feel like you were getting in sync with, or what was that journey like going, like making that breakthrough? Right, you're at school. You brought up earlier when we started working out with YSL.
Yeah. So one of the first artists that I really locked in with in Atlanta was this artist named Nietzsche.
Okay.
And he had just recently came home right when I started interning at that studio, and surprisingly enough, when I started recording him, I wasn't even supposed to be recording. Like I'm still interning at the time, like going on store runs here and there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he was officially signed at the time, or maybe he was going through. I can't really remember what, but he wasn't signed to the label, so like engineers didn't have to record him. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was kind of a friend of the labels at the time, right. So. You know, but I was like, "Hey, let's record." You know what I mean? There was a room open.
Let's just see. Let's see what it looked like.
We're gonna record, and we started recording, and he recorded this song called "Slimed In," and we let Thug listen to it. Thug loved it, and actually, you know, to go back on that story, he didn't even like the song. Yeah. It's kind of one of those producer moments where I didn't make the beat. My boy Turbo actually made the beat, but Nietzsche was like, maybe into the hook or something like that, and he was like, man, let's pull up another beat, let's go to something else. And I was like, what? This song is crazy. Like, we gotta finish this. Mind you, this is our second time recording. And I'm telling him, you know what I'm saying, he just came home from jail, and I'm telling him, hey, look, we're gonna keep finishing this. But he was like, all right, whatever. So we finished the song, and then we let a couple guys listen to it. They loved it. Then Thug listened to it. He loves it. And I'm like, wow, like I told him to keep going with the song. Like, had I not told him, he wouldn't have finished this. We would have went to something else.
Yeah.
And then that was gonna be like his lead single off of, you know, his first project since being home. Yeah. And then before we ended up putting it out, Thug was like, hold on, wait. And then Thug puts it on the first Slime Language. Yeah. So my first big credit was on Slime Language. And I'm like, for a record that he wasn't even going to finish. Yeah. And then that really solidified us working. And, you know, he started trusting me more because he knew, like, yo, he made me finish the song. Yeah. The song ends up on the album with some certain people's favorite songs.
I was about to say, I want to pause for a second so I can give a little insight because I remember exactly where I was when I first heard the song. Yeah. No clue that you were even
that's crazy
a collaborator for the song. Slime. I'm like 2016. I could tell you Slime Language was one. Like, I'm driving on the way to school Friday morning. You feel me? Yeah. I'm like, damn, what is this? And this is the first time I had heard Nietzsche, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, bro, this song is going super crazy. And looking back at it, I know at this point it ended up being my favorite song on that project. Yeah. And that was a project that I streamed probably top 2, top 3 for the entire year.
For the year.
It definitely went that bit went diamond. Yeah. You feel me? So I want to give you flowers on that, bro. Yeah. Appreciate that, man. To be really honest with you, bro, I had no clue that you were even a collaborator on that song. And that's actually legit one of my favorite songs to this day.
Yeah, man. A lot of people have told me that was the fact that it's called Slimed In.
Yeah, it just fits the theme.
Like it fit the theme of the whole project. It's my first one. Song.
It's your first time you're in now.
I'm in. Yeah, you know what I mean. And then everybody at the studio knew that I was an intern and had recorded that song. Yeah. So now that opened up the door for me. More people are wanting to record with me. Yeah. Other, you know, engineers in the studio like, bro, how did you do that? Like, they want the sauce. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Shout out to Loud House, man. Mm-hmm. Shout out to all, you know, the guys over there. But I really bucked on the system. Yeah. At that time, like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it. Like, I'm gonna just record them. And, you know, funny enough, like the owner was like, "Hey man, I got some other engineers. They've been here longer than you. Like, you know, rightfully so. Right? They put in their time." But then my boy Nietzsche was like, "Man, bro, you wanted to record me when other people really weren't trying to record me at that time, and he kind of pulled some strings, and then that's how I really got my job, solidified at Loud House, and in my opinion, it's one of the like staple studios in Atlanta. It's not the biggest commercial studio, but as far as like vibes and hits, and
like folks know
culture.
It comes from over there.
Definitely.
So how are you feeling, fam? Like, I'm in now. You know what I'm saying? That moment, like
at that point, man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I felt like I was on top of the world, bro.
Yeah.
To have moved to Atlanta, and maybe that was like, I think I probably had been there a year. I don't even know if I had been there 2 years. It might have been going on 2 years at that time.
Yeah.
And to do that, I was like, and like I said before, I was about to quit. You know what I mean? I was already doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? And not at that, what I thought was a lot and not getting a lot in return, but it really taught me patience.
Yeah.
And I really think a lot of people need to go through that, because now that I'm in, I've had to have patience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now.
Like, you really got to have real deal patience, because if you don't, you'll crash out thinking that you're supposed to have something sooner.
Supposed to been had this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's what it was. I thought I was supposed to be, an engineer sooner, and this, that, and the third, and everything happened at the right time. So yeah, man, I was on top of the world. I felt I got a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
I wasn't making beats at that time, but as we kept working, I started making more beats. I started picking out his beats more.
Okay, for Nietzsche.
I mean? Yeah, we just got super locked in. And then he was working closely with a friend of his named Michi.
Okay.
And he actually got Nietzsche a record deal at Interscope.
Ah, shoot.
And so now, and Nietzsche had told me this before. He was like, yeah, man, when I get this deal, I'm going to fly you out. You coming with us.
When I'm on, you going type.
Right. And, we always hear that. You know what I'm saying? We all, hey, man, when I get on, you coming with me to this and the third. So, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But that's really what happened.
But he meant to.
Follow through
Flew
with
me
the
out.
original
Flew me
plans.
out to L.A. We in Paramount Studios. I'm just like, what's going on? Like, I'm in here.
I'm here for real.
I'm here, bro. And it's still like, when I think about it now, it's like, wow, like it. Every step of the way just went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were at we went to I want to say Universal Studio, like Universal Music Group.
Yeah.
Went to their studios.
Where's that at?
VP. It's in LA.
Okay.
I said when we went out there, he took me to meet the VP. I got pictures of sitting in their office where you listen to music, and it was a good time, bro. So yeah, at that time I'm feeling untouchable.
They can't They can't hold me.
Right. They couldn't hold me back.
And with that being said, I love that you kind of break down your upbringing, as far as like you said that you got to a point where you just wanted to give up on it. You know what I mean? And it taught you a lot of patience. And it always seems like the biggest blessings come from when you feel at your lowest. You know what I mean?
100%.
So that's a huge breakthrough for you, huge breakthrough for your career. Do you get to sit in on some of these like listening parties, I guess if you want to call it that, when you go to these labels and people are like
where you're at Paramount or whatnot?
At the first time listening to the album for themselves too?
Well, when I went with Nishi, we listened to the project that we were about to release. And really that happens at the studio a lot.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
We listen to the album there. The A&Rs will come in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes artists will take trips and do this and that and the third, but it kind of really depends. But yeah, I mean, as the engineer and producer of a project, it's always a seat for me in the room for sure. Yeah. Just because like I know where everything is. I know where the files are at. I know what we're looking for. So there's usually always a seat for me in the room.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm sorry.
I was about to say, as you're going through that, fam, boom, now you with Nietzsche all the time. You're his guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now with that, obviously you're in rooms with other stars,
100%.
What does that look like as you're like, okay, I'm gonna start branching out to other artists, especially within.
Really at that time, I didn't really have to do too much branching out. I was just working with the way, Thug's got so much love for his people and his artists.
Yeah.
Like he booked out Loud House for his label, and then like there were 3 other additional rooms that people could work out of.
Okay.
And he'll let them work out of them, and that's what we did. We'll use the room up. If somebody else needed it, we'll let them get in. But we keep working, and in doing that, I'm in the same room with Gunna or Nietzsche might call me, hey, we're going to do some songs before Gunna get in. We'll record, and then maybe Gunna's engineered late, or maybe he's out of town or something like that, and he wanted to record. Because I was never really Gunna's engineer. Yeah. I would just, me and Nietzsche were working so closely, and Nietzsche and Gunna had a relationship, so I'd be around. And then if he needed an engineer, I'd record. And oddly enough, there may have been, I've probably recorded Gunna maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. Yeah. And each of those times we get a record. 100%. Like, there may have been one time that we recorded and it wasn't, and he records a lot, you know what I'm saying? Almost every day, especially when he's in that mode. And for us to get a record almost every time we record, it was crazy. But yeah, that just kind of how it happened. But he has an engineer that by the name of Flo. Shout out to Flo. Okay, really great guy. But yeah, anytime like Flo might not be there in that era, just because I was with Nietzsche so much, we were always working. Yeah, I might get a night where I'm recording Gunna, and that's just what it was. Just start
it's funny, fam, because it's like obviously as we've been surrounded by our sports our entire life, right? But it's always funny hearing the other side, like in the entertainment world, because people don't realize like how, honestly, almost like how similar they are, right? It's that thing, fam. Where like as you're talking about it, I mean, in football, we say best ability is availability, right? Man. You know what I'm saying? That's a bar. So it's that thing, fam. Where it's just like you just said it. It's like you was there, quote for Nietzsche.
Yes. No, that's real. The best availability. Wait, say that one more time.
Best ability is availability.
Best ability is availability. 100%. Okay. When I was interning, we might only have to be there 2 days a week. Yeah. I'm there 7 days a week. Sheesh. I'm there all day, and then it sucks sometimes because I'm there. Like I may have to go do something. They might send me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then also, when all the engineers are gone and somebody needs an engineer, I'm the first. They know you there. So yeah, that was one thing for me, was being available. And then the other side to that is I had to learn. There got a point in my career where I had to learn to say no. Yeah. Because now I'm so used to, that's how I got here, was saying yes and being available and getting all the opportunities, and that helped me scale, tremendously. Yeah. But then, I had to get to a point where like I had to focus on my mental health. Yeah. My physical health. Yeah. You guys know me before. I was overweight, out of shape, and that was affecting my mental. Yeah. And it was affecting my music in a sense where I wasn't happy to work on music. Yeah. Music became a job. Now I'm going to the studio just because I got to, this, that, and the third, and I kind of changed those things. And now like I'm feeling better, I'm looking better, and the music sounding better. Right. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm definitely on a different path right now with the music.
Your mental health is always going to be intertwined with your performance, 100%. And I want to take that to this question because I'm always curious from a music perspective. Mm-hmm. You essentially, being an engineer, correct me if I'm wrong, but you essentially have the final say about what the song is going to sound like as far as the minor details, right? You get to kind of tone it up, tone it down, obviously with the artist's, input as well. But what does that, like, what is the formula that sticks out to you the most? To when you hear it, you already know, like, okay, this is gonna be a hit right here.
Well, I've been asked that question before. Like, how do I know if a song's gonna be a hit? That's kind of what you're asking, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really don't know. I put my all into every song. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Every time, because I don't know what's good. You know what I mean? Because there have been songs that I didn't really care about that went crazy. Yeah. And I try to take my emotions out of it because I've been doing it for so long now. Mm-hmm. I know that I can get emotionally attached to records because I might know what happened that day that, made this record what it was. So now I'm attached to it because I knew that maybe we took all night with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe, a series of events happened, to create this record, it happen, whatever the case may be. So sometimes I got to take myself out of it, and I'll have people that I trust their ear come listen to it. But I might not even tell them that I'm looking for their response. Right. I just play it. Yeah. And they're going to, how they move, respond, are they going to ask me about it?
You watch people in the room like, okay.
That's going to tell me everything I need to know. Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of times I'll do that. And then sometimes I may not have that, or I may not get the response that I'm really looking for, and I just got to put it out. Yeah. And then let the people see as well. But my take on that is just like, treat every record like it's a hit.
100%. What song did you feel like you made it and you were like, nah, this, and then it turned into the hit? He was like, "Nah, I snapped."
That's
so
a
we
really
snapped.
good question. Man, that's a really good question. Yeah. I don't know. I'll say, because a lot of them happen like that, and to be honest, like a lot of the big records, I don't expect them to do that.
Yeah.
That's really what I remember the most is the record that I didn't expect to be something to be something. And one of those records is "Speed It Up" with Gunna.
Okay.
And
Speed It Up.
We did like 2 records that day. I'll never forget it. We did like 2 songs. It was a random day. Turbo had called me to pull up and record. I think Gunna had an interview, and they were like, "Yo, we're gonna do the interview at the studio. You might as well just have an engineer pull up and record."
Yeah.
And we did a song. I remember him saying "Speed It Up," and I'm thinking he's telling me to speed the record up. He literally starts off the song. First thing he says is "Speed it up," and I'm looking at him like, "Well, how am I supposed to speed this song up while we're recording?"
Yeah. Come on.
Right. Yeah. That's come on. I was like, what do you like? And then, but his eyes are closed. I don't know. His eyes might have been closed. He wasn't paying attention. He said it again. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's part of the song.
Yeah.
Boom. We did the song, left. A few months later, I see the track list, the tracks on there. Okay, cool. Boom. And then another few months later, that's the first record. That's his first, if I'm not mistaken, that's his first solo gold record. I'm sure it's platinum by now, but at that time it was his first solo gold record.
Yeah. Right.
And then for that to be the song and then that be the one that I recorded, I was like, wow, that was crazy. So yeah, that was one song that I was like, wow. And there have been some other songs where like they've been hits. Funk, is Thug's brother, another artist that was signed to YSL. We record so many songs. It is hard to like sit on that record and be like, this is the one. Because, okay, we did that one and now we did 10 that I really feel the same about. You know what I mean? We just had to put them together, put them out, and now I see the response.
Yeah.
And I did that with Umfung where we were so locked in and he'd have shows and I didn't really like going out too much. So I might stay at the studio while they go out.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back to the studio and record. But one night I went out with them and they played this song that we did and I was like, what in the world? Like the whole club is jumping, saying word for word, and we had a chill day in the studio doing that song. It just becomes the norm. It's almost like like going to work out, and then one day you have that crazy workout where like you didn't up your max and this, that, and the third. It's just that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just show up. We got the same formula for the most part, and then we put it out into the world, and we let the world decide.
Yeah. What does that feel like? Whenever you do see a reaction like that to where it could be a song you might not even expect to pop off like that. You know what I mean? And you get to firsthand see people react the way, get uppity, get hyped, start singing, start actually understanding like you had a hand in that,
I still get goosebumps. Like even if like there's been moments where I've been at a red light.
Yeah.
And I hear somebody bumping a song that I recorded and I'm like, or I was at the gym the other day and they were playing a song, you know what I mean? Like that feeling never, ever, ever gets old.
Yeah.
Like, to know that, man, we were just in this small studio putting this song together and then the whole world, this song is over, the whole world listening to it. Yeah. That makes it all worth it. That 100%. Makes all the long hours and hundreds of songs, that makes it worth it, man. So I love that feeling. That feeling never gets old.
Jeez, I was about to say, fam, I can only imagine that's like, because especially what's it like, I guess, in that, not just for you but the entire YSL team, like y'all are on a historic run at this time. What's it from, like 2017, 18? Obviously like it was more, but I'm saying with you in it, it's like 18 to
right. Yeah,
because correct me if I'm wrong too with this, but at that point it ended up being one of the biggest like artist labels, I guess if you want to call it that, in the world, right?
Timing, man, just timing, because none of that was planned. I didn't move to Atlanta like, yo, I'm gonna go find Thug
and do all
this. I just knew that I was gonna grind.
Yeah,
I was gonna sacrifice. You know what I mean? And then my hard work kind of led me. You know what I'm saying? Just led me to that situation. But it was fun, man. It was nothing but fun. I have like the best memories working with them. It also taught me that everything has its time.
Right? Yeah.
And we all know this.
Facts.
You know what I mean? We've all been in the moment of all things. Nothing lasts forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Things have its moment. You can't hold on to it. Like you got to keep pushing. You got to keep going. Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we all have our different timings where chapters start and end. And it was a great time. I had an amazing experience with those guys, and I still, I'm still in contact with them guys. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I want to spread my wings. I want to show I could do some things kind of on my own, like without the super commercial.
Yeah, without all that,
because I came in YSL where Thug was already established. You know what I mean? The YSL label thing was kind of getting started, or becoming more organized as a label.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to be, a part of that. But he already had a name for himself.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And what he built was something amazing and historical. And now it inspired me to, want to do the same.
To do the same thing,
historical and inspiring to the next generation.
Because I would say that makes a lot of sense, fam. Because, like I said, if you really like look into like what Thug has done and kind of like even what he talks about now, it's like he does this thing, fam, where it's like he's real big into helping people up. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, like once you get there,
more than people know, bro.
Yeah,
like, I know everybody's seeing the blogs and the posts, but I have really seen him help people, and and he's not looking for recognition.
No, facts.
People wouldn't even know, and he wouldn't even care to let that, to explain that or, boast or post about it. Like, he's helped a lot of people in so many ways, and so many people's favorite artists.
Yeah,
he's encouraged them. He's, had them pull up and, help them get it together.
Yeah,
and he helped me get it together. He taught me a lot because Doug knows how to engineer himself.
Yeah.
Okay. So he knows how to do.
Yeah, all those pictures you see of him over the desk.
Yeah. He's over there sitting at the
he
dirt.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He knows how to arrange things. He had. I would say he likes to have an engineer just to kind of like for the vibe.
Yeah,
and just have somebody collaborative because he'll allow the engineer to kind of have a little input. Hey, let's try this. Let's try that.
Yeah,
I've done things. He gave me confidence to kind of like do something with the record. Without kind of being told to just try. Yeah, there's been times where he's like, nah, I don't like that. And there's been other times where there's been records where he's like, yo, I love that. Let's keep that in the record.
Really?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, he's definitely with all. He enjoys that.
He loves the process of it.
He loves the process of it.
Yeah.
He's not going to shy away from telling you he doesn't like it, and then he's not going to shy away from allowing you to kind of just fill it out either.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about working with him for sure.
That's crazy, but that kind of goes toward like how like it makes sense how he got so big. You know what I'm saying? Because one, he fell in love with the process, which I don't even think people like really peeped it. But if you're listening to you, that's how you made it. You know what I'm saying?
That you literally you said it, bro. He fell in love with the process. When I first started getting into the studio, we were there 12 hours, and I used to want to go home so bad after like that 6th, 7th hour.
Yeah.
But they stayed in there.
Like nah, let's keep
here, and that's what it taught me, man. To keep going, fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
I don't really even think about I don't even get stuck on one record. Like, oh, this is a hit. We got to get this record out because we got to record some more. We got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. Like I said, I like to leave that up to other people. Kind of like, I might pick out like 15 or 20 of my favorite songs, and now I'm kind of, hey, y'all tell me what y'all like out of these. That might be my process.
Yeah. Is he with that, fam? Is that more like it? Because I know you said you did it with Gunna. You were available. Right. Was there scenarios or whatever where like you were available or Thug knew was like, hey, I know AJ want to work.
So okay, with the situation with Thug, how I kind of came to record him is
because y'all got some hits now.
Man, that was how that happened is kind of, I ain't gonna say crazy, but it's just kind of magical because his engineer was recording him. I want to say Slime Language 2. We were finishing up Slime Language 2, and I think his engineer went back to LA to either mix the project or spend some time with family, whatever the case may be. Because, okay, let's kind of rewind back from that. So when Thug was at Loud House, after that, he kind of started working out of LA.
Okay.
And he linked up with Baines. Shout out to Baines, man. I've learned so much from Baines and worked with him and watched him work. He was working with him. They're in LA. They come back to Atlanta. They're working in the A. And then, like I said, Baines goes back to LA to mix the project and kind of spend some time with fam. But Thug's still in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm working closely with Funk, who is Thug's brother, another YSL artist. And there was one night where Thug was like, yo, I need you to record this verse. We do this verse. We end up doing another song that I had produced a beat for, and he loved it. He posted himself singing it, and we locked in after that. Like, he was like, oh, yeah, we locked in. And that's kind of like, I don't know. That was around the time, like, Punk was, I don't know if he was, like, in the middle of finishing it or finishing up, whatever the two.
Yeah.
But we just locked in after that. And, you know, Baines would still come back and record them.
Okay.
Baines was based out of LA. And I was living in Atlanta. And of course, same thing. I was available. Mind you, he is, you know, I was with Thug and around Thug and YSL with Slime Language, the first one. And then fast forward to like 4 or 5 years later, Slime Language 2, he's still familiar with me. You know what I mean? So he's not like the type of guy where he's going to have like random engineers come record him.
Yeah, he want his guys.
Personal thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So I had already recorded him a few times before, and then it just kind of, and now we're in a rhythm. You know what I mean? We're recording records, and that's just kind of how that was. Like, I became his engineer for that moment, you know, because I was available.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. I know.
Just listening to you speak, man, it gives me chills sometimes just listening to you, because you're obviously knowledgeable about your process and your path that you chose. There's no mystery of how you got the name AJ StayWorkin. Yeah. It sounds like you, and the way you're explaining it, you're just a workaholic. Like, you're ready to get that work in whatever time, even when you don't want to. You tell yourself, look, because you never know whenever that one hit is gonna happen. Sometimes, like you said earlier, it can happen whenever you don't want it. You don't even want to be there no more. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And to touch on that, I was actually recording this artist named Day Day.
Okay.
In Atlanta. And we were at the studio, and somebody walked in and was like, "Man, you and AJ Stay." No, I don't know. He said something about it was an intern or an assistant engineer. He came in and he was like, "Man, y'all here every day."
Yeah. And
then Day Day was like, "Man, me and AJ stay working on God." And man, I was recording that. Yeah. And I just kept it, and that was the tag. And that's kind of and it's funny because that has always been my slogan, or, you know, montage, whatever you want to call it. Like, because I had a mixtape series called Hustle Don't Stop. Right? Yeah. And it was like, I would just put in, you know, random artists, but that's what it was. Hustle Don't Stop, stay working, like through all things, like keep pushing. Right? Yeah. Good, bad, or indifferent, you know, keep moving. And when he said that, I just, like I said, it reminds me every time I hear it, stay working. Even when people say my name, it's like, they'll, you know, kind of say it mockingly like the tag, but it's a reminder to myself to, like, hey, keep going.
Like, I got to stay working.
Like, if you, AJ, stay working, like, yo, keep going. You know, it's like when somebody's saying my name to me, it's like a reminder to me to keep going. So that's why I was like, I got to stick with this.
Yeah, you got to.
It's pushing me through every day. And not even just stay working, like, you know, physically working, but even, like, on my mental health. Yeah. You know, stay working on finding ways to get some rest. Yeah. You know, stay working in the gym, not just working, like, some people think like, yo, I gotta, you know, have all sleepless nights. Yes, it comes with some sleepless nights, but it also nights where you need to get some sleep. Yeah. So 100%. That way, you know, rest, y'all. You know, working out. Your rest and recovery is just as important as you know, lifting those weights. So stay working is all of those things. It embodies all those things.
And it's crazy because I remember going to your house. You let us stay the night at your crib, you and your brother's crib in Atlanta, and it was crazy, fam, because I remember we got there and he was like, "Yeah, AJ gonna be here for like about 20 minutes." I think we pulled up at like, it's probably like 10 p.m. Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, AJ gonna pull up for about 10-15 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, like I'm trying not to be in his business." Right. I was like, "Okay, yeah, what time we getting back?" He said, "Shit, probably tomorrow."
Like, tomorrow.
I was like, I'm thinking like, okay, like what is that? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because it was like, he's like, "No, fam, like he don't be here at night." Right. Like and I'm like, "Oh damn, he be outside." Like I'm not knowing. And he was like, because all I know is, okay, he hang out with Thug and Gunna and Keed and all these guys. So I'm like, okay, no, maybe they outside. And he was like, "Nah, bro, they be at that studio till 8 a.m.
Man, what? And every day, like 12-hour sessions. Some obviously that would go longer. And like I said, when I first started, it was kind of grueling. Yeah, I was like, man, we just in here, like. But then after a while, like, I got it, because sometimes those hits come at the final hours. Yeah, when everybody's settled in and calmed down, like it's just like I said, I love using, you know, working out as the analogy, because it's like a workout. Like that last set, that last push is the one that really counts. Yeah, you work, you out the entire time to get to that last
one.
And I feel like we do all these songs to get to that last one, to get out all the emotions, all the jitters. Maybe, you know, people just came in with some mental issues coming in, or something on their mind rather. And you know, we got to get past all that so you can kind of just get into that autopilot mode and really let all your feelings out and emotions out on the record. And so usually that comes at the last record. I always tell artists that, like, let's get through this first record. Let's not spend too much time. Like, we could come back to it, but I know that second and third record of the night is going to usually, sometimes that first record is the one, you know what I mean? But usually it's that second and third record of the night, that last record of the night that ends up being that one. So you got to push through for sure.
Yeah.
You speak a lot about mental health, you know, and I'm glad you do, because that's something that we talk about on this podcast, is how important it is to be there for yourself, you know. What is that process for you to keep you mentally healthy, mentally stable throughout the process of the trials, and people are, you know, not necessarily being able to be with you and record the music that, you know, that you're ready to record, but it's not really in your hands at this moment?
Well, as of late, like, my process on keeping my mental health intact is, like, eating right, what I eat. I've been big on, like, what I eat now. I've been cutting out, like, you know, food coloring and sugar, things like that, because I do push my body to the limit in the studio as far as just, like, kind of staying up, loud music. I sit in the chair all day, so I have to push myself to eat better. You know, I try to go to the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week. Cardio, which really has made me just mentally feel so much better, because there were a lot of times where I was in the studio where I was there, but I didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, man, I know they want me. I know they need an engineer. I know they need somebody, because I'm kind of a people pleaser. And like I said before, like, when I started, that's what helped me get to where I was. So I had to reprogram my brain to be like, okay, you're in a new space now, and you got to think about yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep working, you got to keep grinding, but, you know, for all the entrepreneurs out there, people who are starting their businesses, regardless if you're doing music or not, you got to think about yourself. Like, you're thinking about yourself, trying to reach your goals, but you're also trying to help other people. And you got to help yourself.
Did you find that moment of, like, okay, now I got to turn my physical health on to help my mental health? Was there a moment while you're with like YSL, or obviously you're in a much better place now than
actually then? That place came when I got in a car wreck. Me and my brother had gotten a car wreck about maybe like 4 years ago now. It was actually right before the RICO happened. I was in Florida visiting my mom on Mother's Day, and me and my brother got in a car wreck, and then I had a herniated disc in my back and my neck, so I had to go to physical therapy. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm out of shape. And it was like, okay, I got a herniated disc now, I have back pain, so I need to lose some weight, I need to stretch. And in doing that and talking to doctors, I was noticing how unhealthy I was. And that was after a long period, you know, 5 years of recording, you know, nonstop and eating fast food every night, no gym, you know, 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And then, like, once I started changing my diet and I started working out just a little bit, I saw a major difference in, like, my mood. I was, like, you know, more active, and I was getting out more, because even though I wasn't in the studio and I was working hard, I wouldn't go out. I didn't really like going out, even to not even just clubs, but just, like, hanging out with friends. And I wasn't, like you just said, like, you had came to the spot and didn't maybe saw me for a small window. I had a lot of people that would visit me or my brothers, and I wouldn't see them, or I'd be asleep. My schedule was so off. And then I'm not really calling people because I'm in the studio all late night, and then I might not get up to about 4 or 5 p.m. You know what I mean? So, and now, like, I've been taking Sundays off. I might be in the studio Monday through Saturday, and then I take Sundays off, because being in the studio, even though it is work, there are a lot of moments that, like, push you through to want to keep going. Like we were talking earlier, and that hit could come at like 5, 6 in the morning. And after I get that hit at 5, 6 in the morning, now I'm addicted to it. Now I don't care what time.
Like, I gotta stay up now.
I gotta stay up now. That phone rings, somebody's at the studio, I'm pulling up. But I had to, like, okay, sometimes I gotta say no, just for the better of myself. Like, I might miss this chance, but I'm gonna feel better about going to the studio the next day. And I'm gonna have some rest for the next day.
Have you had a hit that came out of that formula?
Oh yeah,
switching it up with
definitely. Like, just taking a day. Like there were times where, you know, I was working with the label and we would be working nonstop, and then I might tell call an engineer and have him fill in for me, and then I come back to the studio well rested, and excited, and we make a smash. I don't really remember, but I definitely know. Like that's what's prompted me to take, you know, force myself to have at least one day off a week.
Yeah.
Because I know, even if, because some days on that one day off, I want to go to the studio. I'm like, dang, I want to go to the studio.
Let me just see what they're doing over there.
Let me just see what's going on. I could make a hit this day. Yeah. But I know that now that I've taken that day off, I have that built up energy. 100. So now when I go back, it's straight nonstop work. I'm not burnt out. I don't have that brain fog or any of that. I'm just ready to lock in.
Yeah. Y'all boys locked in because I'm locked in.
Right. Y'all better be ready to go. 100%. AJ StayWorkin ready to go.
Yes, sir. And then that the artist wants to work more. The artist is happier to work with me. You know, I know I've had moments where, like, you know, the artist asked me, "What's going on, man? You're not really feeling it today," and they might have taken it personal, and I hate that, to feel that like I kind of like shifted the vibe. Yeah, I mean it's natural, it happens. Yeah. But I kind of pride myself in that, and not to bring my personal issues in the studio. Yeah. Because that's not what somebody else is coming here for. You know what I mean? And I know people enjoy working with me because of that, because I'm not. It's all about them. Yeah, you know what I mean. But like we were just saying, man, you got to have those days where it's all about yourself. Yeah.
So when when car accident happens, you're understanding, I gotta put me first. Right. And it's kind of crazy that car accident happens at the timing of almost everything that's
the day before. The day it was, I want to say, I think we left Mother's Day. It was either Mother's Day or the day after Mother's Day. Yeah. But when I got back to Atlanta that day and woke up, that's when it happened.
I remember. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember running into you very shortly before that car accident, and we sat there chopping it up for like 20 minutes. You was just washing your car, bro. You ain't have to stay that long. You know what I mean? Yeah. We just chopping it up, just reminiscing on, you know, because obviously we from the same area. We know each other. Like we been good. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. You gotta have those moments, bro. I love coming home. I love like the down to earth, you know, chopping up with people that I grew up with, having them conversations. Because like that also reminds me of where I came from. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, like I get lost in the sauce too, just with, you know, all that's going on, and, you know, sometimes come back because, you know, coming back around people that I grew up with, they don't care. I mean, they care, but they know who I am, and they know, like, it's not just about all the glitz and glamour and the fame. Like, you guys know me, like, a humble guy. Some people look at me like, oh, a superstar, big producer, engineer, whatever the case may be. But like I said, man, come home, and that's love for me. Yeah, you know
I said that almost feels like God's time. Like you said, you come home, talking to, even seeing Suge. I think I had seen you a little bit before me and Mike. Yeah, I seen you at the Waffle House. Yes, sir. All this stuff was going on, so it's crazy. So what's going through your head when that day happens? The Rico,
all those guys. I spend a lot of time. Man, it's funny because, you know, that interview that Thug did, he was like, when I spend more time with my girl, I was spending more time with them than everybody in my family. You know what I'm saying? Girlfriend, mom, dad, brother, sister.
Also, all y'all in that mode of
all of us were in that mode.
We're with y'all more than we with our own family.
Yes, everybody's getting phone calls from like, where are you at? I'm trying to talk. I want to see you, this, that, and the third. We were all spending more time, you know, with the artists. And so because of that, like, I had a relationship with them, you know, with their kids, with their parents, with, you know what I'm saying? Like, so to hear that was just like hearing any of my other friends getting picked up. You know, I was nervous, you know what I'm saying? Scared, whatever, like, just like, I hope they get out, because I don't want to see anybody that I love and care about. You know, in a situation like that. So yeah, man, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I lost my job. Like,
no, for sure.
I lost my friends. I lost my job.
Are you realizing you lost your job in the middle of it, or like what is?
I woke. I went back to Atlanta thinking, okay, I'm about to go back to the studio, because to come out here, you know, visit my mom, I took off. Yeah, so I took like 2-3 days off. You know, told the label, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll be back on this day. So I'm on my way back. I get back. I wake up. You know, expecting to go to the studio, I'm getting phone calls thinking that they're like, oh, where you at? And they're like, no, everybody just got picked up. Yeah. Mind you, guys got picked up that they ended up getting released the same day. But I'm like, wait, are they picking everybody up in the label? Or
I remember
cameramen got picked up, managers got picked up. So I'm confused because I'm not knowing. But you know, they just so happen to be. Everybody was together, and they just like
they just grabbed everybody,
right? But I'm not knowing this, and really, I didn't know until like a couple of days later. Okay, like, hey, look, this is what happened. Yeah. So really, I'm like, wait, hold on,
what's going on? All you got is the internet to go off.
Yeah, all I got is the internet to go off, and then like I'm not really talking because you know the main guys are locked up, so everybody's not getting around to telling everybody what happened, what's going on. I'm having to watch the news and Twitter and this, that, and the third.
Fam, I know your phone was jumping, bro. I know your phone was jumping just so after the fact. I called you like 8 times. Yeah. Because I remember that same morning, bro. Remember, look at my phone, picked up Thug. I look at my phone again, picked up Gunner. I look at my phone again, and they're picking folks.
So
they picking folks up.
People were calling me like, bro, you good?
That's
like,
what I'm saying. I'm like that. I'm like,
bro, like you just hear YSL and you think, and I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah. Like, man, it's going to be a sweep on damn the cleaning crew.
Yeah. Did you think you were going to get picked up?
Yes and no. Just because, like, obviously, I'm like, I record music, so I know they're not thinking. But at the same time, like I said, a cameraman, a manager,
they picking people that don't got nothing to do with anything.
Like the business side of it too. So I thought there was a chance that you know I could be getting a phone call or get subpoenaed or something like that. I never thought there was a chance.
So what's that like? You know, going into this new chapter of your life that is, you know, post trial. You're starting to work on yourself, you know, that type of thing. You're starting to put your name out there, and it's not just solely like associated with YSL. Now it's AJ StayWorkin. You're running camps now. Like you're doing your business side. How does that affect your transition into that new chapter?
Man, at first it was tough because. You got to remember as well, like Key passed away during that time. Me and Key were working closely, and you know, all the guys that I had really learned how to make music with started my professional career in music are gone. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm making music like I had never really made music by myself, and I'm not saying like. I'm making an entire song, but just having people around me. Yeah. Like your crew. Right, having the crew around me. So I didn't make music for a while. Like I didn't make any beats. I didn't record any songs. It wasn't the same. Yeah. I was super depressed.
You got to figure out you.
I got to figure out me. I just got in a car wreck. Yeah. Herniated disc. I lost my job like that. My whole summer. That really like the 2-3 years like was probably the roughest of my life, and that prompted me to start thinking of other things to do. Like the producer camp, because like I said, I didn't really care to make a whole lot of music at the time, but I did still have engineers and producers asking me a lot of questions. Yeah, and I was like, and I wanted to link up. That the label and YSL was how I got to link up with a lot of people. That was just like the link up. Everybody's pulling up on us, and now there is no more of that. Yeah, and so I know I just needed to be around the community again. And I had talked to my manager. Shout out to Kenneth, and we kind of formulated this idea of like producer camps. Yeah, where I could bring a lot of my producer homies together, and I could help the next generation, learn a few things. So they may get to sit around. They can ask me questions. Now we taking it out of social media. It's face to face, and we all know how that is. Yeah, facts. Everybody has a different persona on the internet that they do face to face. So. I started doing the producer camps, which, I do charge, but that kind of covers the studio cost, maybe food and certificates and things like that. But it really brought back the joy of music for me, because like helping people really brought it back. And I kind of I recommend that for anybody who's, an entrepreneur and doing something and trying to figure it out or trying to get the love back for it. Go help somebody. Like if you're finding that you're not loving what you're doing anymore and whatever you do, go help somebody else. And don't think, they're gonna, do excel and do well without me or whatever. Take it, use it for yourself. Hey, look, they're helping me and I learned something. You know what I mean? Like I learned something about myself. I learned something new. Learned something I didn't know that There's something new about this. So doing the producer camps. And then also I just opened my own studio in Pensacola. Yeah. Loving that. It's a
What's the name of that for the people that don't know?
So the name of the studio is the Musician Room. I'm working closely with my boy AJ, the musician.
Okay.
Great guy. He actually had called me. I've known him for like 15 plus years, and he called me to do some beat collabs. Yeah. And then I got a chance to check out his studio. Then he was like, "Yo, I got another room." I was living in Atlanta at the time.
Yeah.
And I was telling him that I wasn't really recording too much in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yo, man, if you came out here, you'd go crazy." And I was like, "All right, I'll try it." And I tried it out for a week, and man, I was booked all day, every day for a week. And I just felt the love. You know, I DJ'd a lot in Pensacola. I got a lot of love in Pensacola, so it's still home. It's like 45 minutes hour away from where my parents stay. I was like, you know what? For the next year or two, this is where I'm working out of. Like, forget it. Let's do it. Obviously, I still go back to Atlanta, still go to LA and things like that. Yeah. But right now, I'm locked in at Pensacola, locked in.
Yeah. You found that pocket. You found that pocket where you...
man. I'm back working every day, you know, all night with the artists. I get to choose who I work with. That was another thing that I didn't really want to do. After, you know, the whole YSL situation, I would have probably worked at a studio and then had to work with kind of random artists. Yeah. Which I'm not opposed to, but now at this point in my career, I want to be able to decide who I get to work with.
You got the resume to say.
You know what I mean? And I still do work with, you know, obviously artists that I haven't worked with. But I get to filter them a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, if I don't feel like working with those artists, I could just work with who I want to work with today. But it's a lot of talent, man. It's a lot of young talent out there. I've got this project with this artist. Well, probably by the time everybody sees it, it'll be out. It's called If I'm Lying, I'm Flying with Baby 3. It's this young artist out of Pensacola, super talented. Is more on like some hip hop, rap, fused with a little R&B, you know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to that, to what's to come. I've been out in Pensacola like maybe 6 or 7 months now. Yeah. And for the near future, this is where the next few projects that I put out, you know, will be, you know, coming from.
Yeah. It's very just, you know, keeping up with your socials and, you know, being tapped in with the culture in Pensacola of the music scene. It's very obvious that AJ StayWorkin is making his mark, you know, down here, back where you're originally from. Yeah. How do you keep that, and how do you stay working and keep that motivation? How does that motivate you to know that you're making your mark here, you're influencing the next generation of young artists in the town that is almost neighbors to where you originally grew up from?
Just kind of like you said, man, the next generation, bro. Just seeing now the guys that, like, I felt like I was in their place, you know, not too long ago. Like, basically when I moved to Atlanta, like getting myself together, figuring it out, learning, like, and realizing I'm really good at this. It really wasn't until I moved to Atlanta that I was like, wow, I actually have a gift in creating music. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have that, and I want to help them, you know, discover that about themselves. Yeah. You might actually be better at this than you think. Yeah. Like, so I think a lot of people start and they're like, oh, okay, I'm decent. And that's kind of how it was for me. And then, like, I unlocked, you know, I got around other people that made me feel comfortable. Yeah. To be able to do it. Yeah, to be able to do it and put it out and experiment as well. And not just go with what I'm used to hearing. Trying things that, like, I haven't ever heard before. And so, like, working with this new generation and seeing their eyes light up and them get excited about what they're doing, that's what keeps me working and keeps me motivated, for sure.
It's crazy to I guess hear both, like, the transitions from YSL to this new era that you're almost creating a similar thing of helping and putting other people on, because that's honestly that's what YSL was about, right? Yeah. So I understand now. It helps me understand more, I guess, why you were so stuck in that 2-year gap, right? Where you were like, I'm not making music, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, because for the most part, that was who you were.
That's all I knew. Yeah, that's where, like I said, my professional career started with them.
So what's going on with your mental in that 2-year window of, I don't know what I want to do?
Man, yeah, my mind was all over the place, man. I had considered, you know, doing other things, like, you know, just like getting another job or maybe find, you know, but my heart's always been in music. Yeah. And I always revert back to that. And I was DJing, you know, I would do parties from time to time. But still, like, I wanted to be in the studio. Like,
was a piece of you thinking, like, we're going to get the band back together soon? Like, it's going to be...
Yeah, I always knew that, like, the guys would come out I mean, I don't think things will ever be the same, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, for sure.
Because like I was saying, things change.
You
know, chapters end and new chapters begin, and that's what I'm on. I'm embracing.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to recreate. Yeah, the moments are similar.
Yeah.
My goal isn't to recreate what was there. This is something totally new. Yes, it has the same essence, working on music. We're trying to help people, but this is something totally different. And it's taught me that about life. Like, that's just how things are. We have to move on. We got to let go, and we got to embrace the next things that come and because those moments, the moments that I'm embracing now, will become the moments that I wish I could get back.
100%.
You know what I mean? And the older I get, the more I realize that like, we're not getting these moments back. Enjoy the moments that we're in, because it's always when they're gone that we're like, man, that was a moment. And then working with YSL, like we were in the midst of it and didn't know, like, this is the peak of, you don't
know what the peak, you don't know you're in the peak.
No idea. Like, I'm in the middle of it, even though the whole world's watching it and we're in the studio, they're listening to songs. I'm like, this is everyday life. I can honestly say there were moments that I took advantage of and didn't embrace them like I should. But now I'm embracing them like I should, and I'm actually, and in doing that, I'm having just as much fun. I'm enjoying it just as much. No, it may not be on the same level, but I feel just as good doing this, and that's what's keeping me doing it, because it's still feeling good. And that's another thing that I feel. And I feel that in the music. If it's feeling good, keep going. I don't really care, like, if somebody else approves of it or if they enjoy it or they like it. It's like, yo, this feels good, this feels right. So I'm gonna keep going with it until it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you have a project coming out with Baby 3.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat because I'm ready for some AJ StayWorkin collab albums, mixtapes, coming out in the near future. Elaborate a little bit on what you have in the vault and what you have coming out in the near future.
I've got so many records, so many artists that I can't wait to debut. And I'm not waiting. Like, I would love a much bigger stage to kind of shine light on these artists. But I'm using what I got. And
100%.
And this is the moment right now. And like I said before, I'm enjoying it. So we're going to go. We're going to drop this music. I got a few artists: Baby 3, Strike, Tanka, Uptown Jit, man, like AJ the musician. We've got some music together, and I know I'm forgetting some artists, but there's so many artists that I'm working with right now, and it's like, right now I'm having a hard time figuring out who to work with and when to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everybody wants to work, and musicians, they have their feelings, rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's how they get their music out. So right now I'm just trying to figure out a way to work with everybody, to get everybody something out, and to, like, it be like a good body of work to represent who I am and what I do. And sometimes, like I said, man, you got to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
You got to turn things, you got to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm on. But I'm very excited about, this new chapter, because there's a lot of things that are happening now that are kind of setting the foundation, and setting the tone, and I've fallen in love with the process all over again with this, for sure.
And it's fun hearing you kind of talk about it, and seeing, obviously, in this next chapter of, like, this is now your baby, right? This is now you're growing this thing, 100%. Right? With your new guys, with all of that. It's cool for me to see, because we talked about this before the cameras was on. I've been feeling like you're supposed to be up there with the Metros. You know what I'm saying? With the Metro Boomers, you're supposed to be up there with some of these other producers, but you were so good with just, you know what I'm saying, staying behind the scenes, doing a lot of the work,
right?
But staying behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I know just in my own life, it's one of those things where you start realizing, like, closed mouths don't get fed. If people don't know, man, you know what I'm saying? How do they? What? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this like, with everything that's happened, it's kind of taught me that too. Like, yo, I got to get out here. I gotta, like, push these playlists. I got to remind people what I've worked on, and kind of shine a light on myself.
On yourself.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I know that also attracts new works. It also helps get my works out further.
Yeah.
Because I want even more people to hear this.
Yeah.
And I got to use what I got. I don't have, like, a super label budget to get these things out. So I got to put myself out there. I'm doing more content now. I'm, like, posting myself in the gym. in studio, things that I never, that wasn't, you guys know me, that's not really my style. Like I said, I started producing and because I like being a behind the scenes. I like doing things behind the scenes, but I do want more people to hear my music.
No, for sure.
And for that, I've got to get out in front of the cameras and on social media, and I've got to do that. So that's kind of the leaf that I'm turning over now is like, figure out ways how to put yourself out there so people want to know more and like want to attach themselves to the music.
Yeah. No, like I said, that gets me so excited, bro. And just watching you grow in this field of it, because like you said, not only does it help you out, right, but it helps these new artists that you messing with. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Some people might listen because they know, okay, the guy that is helping these young guys make music was with Thug, was with Gunna, was with Lil Baby, was with Mariah the Scientist, was with, you know what I'm saying? Was with
even more like I feel like I have a responsibility to provide that quality and level. Right. So I want to take my time with it. Yeah. So that like obviously it's not going to sound anything like what I've worked on, but it's going to have that same quality. Yeah. The same effort is put in. I'm using the same plugins, the same programs, the same, all of that. You know what I mean? It's going into these records just like any of those other records for sure.
And that's big. You just got to get it don't got to sound the exact same. Right. But just having that resume and using that resume, it gets people just to tune in. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine. There's been so many times for me where I'd found songs on accident. Right. Because it was with somebody familiar that I.
Right. Yeah. You trusted. Like, yeah, I know. I understand. Like, people trust, what I'm putting out, and I want to keep that trust with people to where even if you haven't heard this artist, when you listen to it, you feel like this is a signed artist. Like, now this is my new favorite artist. Yeah, he might be unsigned and undiscovered, but also again, I want that. I want to be a part of something like that, literally from ground zero,
all the way up.
I got a chance to see that with a lot of artists, and spending time with Thug and Gunna and the whole roster, even Keed, seeing a lot of people go from, and may not even necessarily ground zero, but a point, and then grow beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Where I might have met them, and that's what I'm on now with the artists in Pensacola.
It definitely helps that you, just like you said, you know what it looks like,
right?
You know the process. You know
what it takes.
What's right, what's wrong, how to do it.
Facts.
Is there an artist out there that you're looking forward to or you want to work with in the near future, just being able to, or you think that you guys can organically just make some good records together?
I like working with artists who want to work with me. Yeah. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, where I got to put myself out there more, because I want them to know me. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried a thing where I've kind of like Russian roulette, work with artists that doesn't really know me, I don't really know them. Yeah. And it does, sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. But what works out best is when we both want to work with each other. Yeah. We've understood each other. Maybe we spent some time outside the studio. Maybe we met in the studio, whatever the case may be. Yeah. And then we just build that relationship and bond to where like certain things happen and are done without either one of us saying them. It's a relationship. Yeah. So, working with the Drakes and the Kendricks and that would be great, but I want a real, like, we could go to the studio every day. I can call you, you can pull up on me, I can pull up on you, whatever the case may be. And I feel like a lot of that starts at the ground level. 100%. Like, rarely ever do you just like meet a big artist and because they got things to do. For sure. They just y'all haven't grown up with each other and things like that. So it's like you can build that right in your own backyard. Like they all started somewhere with somebody trying to figure it out, and so that's what I'm on. You know what I mean? I don't really have like I said, obviously there's some major artists that I would love to work with, and you just name them off, and I'd say yes. But the artist that really wants to work with me, that we're really locking in, that's what I want to work with. Yeah, like, that's real. The artist that's I can't wait to get in the studio with AJ StayWorkin. That's who I want to get.
So let's get to the studio.
They're going to put out their best. Right. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be like, oh, this is another day in the studio. Yeah. They're gonna be writing and thinking and videos and like I love that. That's and to go back to one of your earlier questions, that's another thing that inspires me, is just working with somebody who's like, when you first start doing something and then the ideas just get rolling. When y'all started a podcast, you had 100 ideas. Like that is what, so continually being around people who are like that is what keeps me going. Even though I've been in, you know, the music industry at a professional level for like 7 to 8 years now, I still like getting around people who like this is kind of their first time in a sense, or they've been waiting to do this because they're gonna have ideas that, you know, they're gonna be willing to step outside the box. And I think that's what you need to push things forward. Like you got to have like the foundation and the history and somebody to tell you, hey, do this, do that. But you also got to have that young energy, that unapologetic, willing to make mistakes, but also willing to learn.
Yeah.
It's keep you going.
That's funny. Like thinking back of like what we talked about at the very beginning of this film, we talked about like that trainer where you finna get that work. You better get work. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny going from the very beginning of the conversation where you're meeting guys, you're meeting all these big name guys, and you're like, I gotta bring my shit today to it transitioning where the student becomes the teacher. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because like you just said, you love working with the kids. That's like, mind you, you're a big deal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? AJ StayWorkin. So it's like when kids see or young men are like, and women is like, dang, like we got a session with AJ StayWorkin. I gotta bring it. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny that you've turned into that side.
Right, yeah, I never really thought about it like that, but that is what I enjoy, bro. That is what brings the fire out of me, like somebody being excited to work with me. And I know sometimes like people are a little timid to work because they're like, oh, he's probably not gonna want to work. He's did this and that, but that's what makes me want to work. You know what I mean? Because I've seen some of those big artists that people love start just like this, and you have to have that fire to get to where they are. You know what I mean? I didn't see somebody who didn't kind of really have that fire or who didn't really care. You know, there's characteristics. It's just like a good, you know, star player. You can see a star in a player way before they're going to see it in themselves. You know what I mean? They've got the dedication. They're hungry. It's almost like you see yourself in them. So when I see myself in somebody else, especially an upcoming artist, and they, like I said, they don't even necessarily know what to do or how to get to where they're going. You just know that they're hungry. Yeah. And then that makes me hungry. Like, yo, I still need to get up every day and want this just like these young guys do. Because if not, they gonna replace me. Yeah, no, you know facts. What I mean? That just as I replace people. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Performance pays business.
When they lost their drive and their fire, which happens, you know what I mean. But you know, I'd always try to find ways to keep that fire because that's what makes those great hits.
100%. 100%. So I guess with that being said, what do you feel like that moment was, or that code was? If you had to sum up everything that you've done, what was that code that made you realize, okay, this is the formula to become successful in my field? Like, what is, because that's one thing we do, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment and music, whether it's movies.
There's a lot of those moments. I will say the one that I can think of right now is kind of like when I was interning at that studio. Yeah. And I had it was my girlfriend at the time, telling her that I was about to quit. Yeah. And then like, I don't really remember what made me stay, but I stayed, and then I got the opportunity. Yeah. And then that opportunity turned into another one. And then, you know, for the rest of my career, I started to learn that when things get tough, like a turning point is about to happen. Yeah. And I've always told, you know, other engineers that every time I go to a different studio, because they'll ask me questions and things like that. And I'll tell them like, yo, you know, once it gets tough, just like working out, push. Yeah. Once it starts to like push back on you a little bit, push and watch what happens. Because you're going to start working even harder and trying more things and putting yourself out there more, and you're going to receive things that you didn't even know just from doing that push. Yeah. You were trying to, there was another goal in mind, but then there's like somebody out there watching you and doing this and that, and other things are happening behind the scenes, and you didn't even know. But because you did that push, now it's like floodgates. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like,
do you get that feeling like every single time now when you get to like, dang, I don't feel like doing this? Oh, it's time. Something's about to happen. Do you get that?
I will say that now that I know that it comes a little bit less. You know what I mean? Because like I know that. You know, when I'm in the studio, I really don't, unless I have something to do, I'm not thinking about when I have to leave. Though. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I'm trying to think like what. I mean, I have my days just like anybody else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like where I'm like, dang, am I doing this right? Am I picking the right things to do. And then I always remind myself, you know, stay working. Yes, there are some dead ends. Yeah, I've been running a race and, you know, it stopped right there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I've ran that race and just needed to get over the wall and to the next thing. You know what I mean? I also know that, you know, timing is a thing too. So while you may feel ready, other things have to happen in other spaces that you have no control over.
Facts.
You know, and those things are endless. Somebody may need to move over here or move away or whatever the case may be. Something may need to happen that's out of your control, and you just gotta wait on it. And in waiting on it, keep on going. Keep doing what you need to do.
You got the way you speak, and you know, obviously we know most of the people that, you know, support you. You have a huge support system. You have a great village behind you that
100%
believes in you. How does that affect your mental ability to create the best music that you feel like is gonna be, you know, I guess what's the word for it, like publishable, when you have that battery in your back with these big name artists and people that you hold close to your heart are believing in you? Maybe they're believing in you a little bit more than you feel like you're believing in yourself at the moment.
Man, yeah, I talk to my brothers all the time. Like, they always tap in with me. And I have random people, you know. I had somebody yesterday like, yo, shout out to AJ, man. He's always, you know, trying to uplift the people and, you know, do something for others. And things like, I love things like that. You know what I mean? That really reminds me. Because, you know, sometimes people see it the other way. Some people are like, oh, he ain't really doing this and doing that. And that comes with it. You know what I mean? But, you know, I love when other people, you know, my brother taps in, hey, man, you're doing a good job. Like, I love that. And I try to do that for others as well, because you may think that's just because somebody's in a position that they're hearing it all the time. But it's like, they might not have heard it.
It might not be,
Or maybe they didn't hear from somebody that really knows them, that matters to them, that really needs to hear this. So yeah, I love it, and I always give that back to people, letting them know, like, hey, I'm tuned in, I'm watching, like, I'm not above anybody. I see what's going on just like everybody else sees what's going on. So, and I appreciate all the love at all times too, because that definitely helps me keep going, because sometimes I forget. You know what
100%.
I mean? I'm running this race just like
it's easy to. It's easy to forget.
It's super easy to forget while you're in the midst of it all. So yeah, all love is for sure appreciated.
Shoot. With closing, what do you, when it's all said and done, how do you want AJ StayWorkin to be remembered?
That's a great question, man. I want to be remembered as somebody through, like, all things kept working, man. For sure, keep God first, but, you know, in doing all those things, keep working. When you don't feel like it, like I said, you need your rest. You need those moments, you know what I mean? But, you know, keep thinking of new ways to be innovative, push the envelope. I don't always get it right. I've tried so many things and things that failed, that didn't work. So I want people to remember me by, like, yo, he worked all the time. He motivated others. He inspiration to others, you know, beyond the music. Like, yeah, I want my music to be remembered, but, like, through the music, what I want people to get is, like, yo, motivation and to keep grinding. Stay working. You know?
Well, shoot, man. Look, I appreciate you. Appreciate you hopping on with us, man.
It's a blessing to have you on this pod today, man. Just to let you tell your story a little bit. You know, just kind of put yourself out there in the public light, and just
and when the next project, I'm coming back.
You know what I mean? Come on, look, we gonna make it work. Look, whenever you got time, fam, you know we want you on here now. Come on, look.
Make something work. I promise you, we can make something work.
So, man, I better say, and that's.
I love what y'all doing, man, and I can't wait to see, you know, where this all goes. And I'm glad to be a part of it, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
You got any final remarks? Anything that you want to put out there that maybe you haven't said yet, that you want your viewers and our viewers to just get a little bit more of comfortability with yourself?
Yeah, man, like I said, man, y'all keep God first. Stay working. New music on the way. Follow me on Instagram at AJ StayWorkin. No G on the end. And just tap in, man. If y'all see this, let me know. Send me some words of encouragement. If y'all need some, you know, the viewers or even you guys need some words of encouragement, man, tap in with me, hit me. I'm not, you know, unreachable. I respond to DMs as long as it ain't nothing crazy. You know what I mean? I respond to comments, all of those things. So I see it all. So send it. But yeah, be on the lookout for that new music. And I do have a playlist out now as well on Apple Music. So if y'all want to see some of my works or things that I worked on, look up AJ StayWorkin on Apple Music.
We'll definitely put that link in the description too for you guys to go ahead and tap in with that playlist. You know, AJ StayWorkin, it was a blessing to have you on the podcast today.
Yes, sir.
This sums up episode 3 of the Carter Code Podcast. We're gone.
Yes, sir. Good stuff, man. Let's get a little picky. Yeah.